A very good morning to everybody. And firstly, I thank Industrial Economist for carrying out this webinar, and inviting me for it. My homage to Mr. Vishwanathan, who set it up. I've not met him, I've heard of him earlier. But an institution, the magazine, of course, I have had occasion to regularly read at one point in time. Later, of course, somehow I was away, so I couldn't be in touch with it. But it was always found it to be informative and up to date on a lot of issues. And setting up an institution and keep it running for 35 years is a great task. And I think he should be we should all be thankful to him for having built up this institution. Madam Jayanti, the editor, Mr. Ram Mohan Rao, His Excellency, former Governor of Tamil Nadu, Mr. Lakshmi Narayan, Mr. Mohan Reddy, and of course, Mr. Patabi Ram, participants, and ladies and gentlemen. I have been in the insurance industry for a very long time. And I was, as you know, insurance has two aspects, life insurance and non-life. I have been with the non-life sector for a long time. So today I thought, since you have mentioned about what it will be in the next 25 years, I will first give a brief introduction to where we are at the moment, where the market is, what is the industry doing, what are the drawbacks, or what are the things which are inhibiting it from growing further, what are the things which are helping it grow, and finally, what is to be done to see that it takes off in the next 25 years. 25 years is a long time. And 25 years, so many things will happen, especially in today's world, where things are happening by the minute and things no longer are static. But still, 25 years is a long time. We'll have a look at it. Now, insurance industry is considered to be a sunrise industry in India. It's definitely a sunrise industry, an industry which has shown growth even during those lean years of COVID, when other sectors were falling and showing deceleration. Insurance industry was not affected. In fact, there were some positive tidings for the industry during that, post that period. So that has been the position of the insurance industry. It has been, there's a lot of potential. And that's why we have a lot of people coming from outside also trying to invest in India. Now, there are certain things one need to keep in mind when we talk about the insurance industry, which are perhaps not well known. The insurance industry, though not well known in India, not as well as it could be, the banking sector and the financial sector, the mutual funds, all these things, they are the glamorous ones. The insurance field are like the backroom boys who get some credits here and there. Things are, of course, changing, but traditionally this has been the way it was. But it may come as a surprise to know that the insurance market or the insurance industry of India in terms of premium is the 10th largest in the world, which is a significant factor. When we consider that in India itself, perhaps knowledge about it is not too high. But when we look at certain parameters which are commonly used for the insurance industry, one is called insurance penetration, which is a ratio of the premium of the industry to total GDP. When we look at that, we don't fare too well. And when we look at what it was in 2001 to in the last 20 years or so, it was around 2.71. And today in 22, it has come to 4.20. There has not been, there has been growth, no doubt. Nobody can deny that, but it has not been significant. And in global terms, perhaps it is not very high. There's another factor which is taken into account for insurance purposes. That's called insurance density, which is nothing but say per capita insurance premium. So it's total premium of the industry as a ratio to the GDP. That is worked out. Here again, we have traveled a long way from what it was in 20 years back, 2001 to what it is today. It's about 8 times, 9 times growth has happened in this particular aspect. But still, it is far behind many of the other countries in the world, both developed as well as developing countries. So having said that, I took the figures of 2001 too, because we have come across different phases distinct phases in the insurance industry, starting from the traditional methods of insurance. Insurance is something which finds reference in even places like Arthashastra, and you had even during the Middle Ages, we had various forms of insurance, which perhaps are still practiced today, called the Jokhami Hundi is one of those instances. Hundis were used as insurance mechanisms. So many other things, I will not get into it. The Western model of corporate insurance came sometime towards the late 19th century, end of late, and till 56 for life insurance and 72 for non-life insurance when it was nationalized. The insurance business itself was nationalized. It was a whole lot of insurance companies operating in India. But they were all urban-centric and limited to a few pockets, and there was growth was there, but nothing very significant. 2001, 2000 ushered in reforms in the insurance sector with a major change happening in concept, in the sense that earlier it was the government which was the owner. They were having ownership of the insurance companies. They were the regulator by way of a control of insurance, and they were also the service provider. The insurance companies were the service providers. A conceptual change took place, a major change took place in 2001 with the introduction of IRDA, where there was segregation of roles. The regulator in the form of IRDA, government, of course, as owner, but so many other private companies have come in. So ownership is dispersed, and service providers also are totally dispersed. This is a conceptual change which has happened. And subsequently, a large number of insurance companies have come. And today we have something like 57 insurance companies, both life and non-life put together, against 5 which were there earlier. 6 if GIC was also taken into account. So these are certain things where we stand today. There's been many insurance companies which have come in, and there has been a lot of growth. It's a growing field. Every year there has been consistent growth. In terms of numbers, after all, India, we have today, as we talk, we have become the most populous country in the world. It's a huge number, about 100 million. And out of that, today, how many are insured? Well, I was going through the IRDA's latest report also. There are differing figures coming up, and according to one figure where they have gone by policies, it is 115 crores insured. But I feel that is because of overlapping of many policies. Roughly, I would say about 50 crores can be considered to be insured in some form or the other. So which means we have another 100 crores to be insured in terms of numbers. And worldwide, when we look at the distribution of life to non-life, the developed countries, life insurance is, much less, around 40-45%, against non-life about 50-55%. India reverses the case. Life insurance is the dominant factor, with about 76%, and non-life insurance is about 26%. And as in various other fields we have seen, the movement is generally towards international parameters. So there is a tremendous amount of scope available as far as the non-life sector is concerned and as far as growth of the industry is concerned. Now, we have there are many reasons which could be attributed to this particular aspect of why in India things have not gone to the extent which are there. I would say things have not gone to the extent of what the potential is there, because if it was really profitable, if it was really attractive and lucrative, hard-nosed businessmen and business leaders, insurance companies from other countries would have flooded the country. Today we talk about 57 insurers, out of which 6 or 7 are in the government sector, and the balance are private sector, no doubt. But then when you look at a market like Nepal or Sri Lanka, the numbers are much, much higher in comparison to what we have with much smaller markets. I wouldn't say higher, but quite significant in terms, in comparison to the size of the market. So there is something which is preventing them from coming in. And I was having a look at the capital investment. I find many of them have not gone up to the maximum extent to which foreign investors have not gone to the maximum extent permitted. They are still holding on and not increasing their share. So which shows that there's a kind of a reluctance on the part of foreign insurers to come in. And a few of them have exited the sector also. The latest being AXA, which has sold its business to HDFC Life. Before that, there was Chubb and so many others who have exited the field. So what has happened? Why is this, with a country with a sector which is so pregnant with a lot of promise, a lot of potential, why is it not developing further? What is holding it back? And inhibiting factors are many. I will not take too much of time on it, but I'll just name a few. One is awareness. Awareness is very, very low in India about insurance. And this is one of the major reasons. And to some extent, I would say that group schemes, including government schemes, whether it is health or personal accident or whatever, have also retarded development of awareness. Because people, for them, you talk to anybody who is having a health card or who is under a government scheme, they'll say it's a government scheme. This is a government scheme. So that is where we are. So, and awareness is very low. That has to be changed. It is still a low priority item. For instance, if somebody was to have some, say, money to spare, would that person say, hey, I have to buy an insurance policy, I'll go and buy it today? Or will he say, I'll go and buy an ice cream today? Obviously, the choice is he will perhaps buy an ice cream, not spend time or money on an insurance policy. So still, it's a low priority item. Many reasons are there. I won't dwell into it, but just name this thing. The social and cultural factors. Our institutionalized structure. Culturally, we have certain institutions like the joint family and other things, which essentially are insurance. They are a form of insurance for people. So all those things have retarded. Then there is also the fact that insurance is not easy to understand. We insurers, I am guilty of it also, I plead guilty to it. We manage to complicate our terms, conditions and other things. It's not easy. And now I realize it when I try to find out, when people come to sell life insurance products to me, I find I'm totally at sea. And when I see the non-life insurance products also, I find that this is the case. Now, these are certain general things. Specific factors after 2001, what has happened is, instead of the pie increasing in size and more people coming into the insurance net, what has happened is there has been intense competition for a share of the existing pie. So what was there with the government insurance companies? have essentially, focus has been on trying to take away business from them. And that has also happened, and considerably now the market share, which was around 60, 65 till 4-5 years back, is now 34% for government insurance companies. It started, of course, with 100%. LIC's life insurance is slightly slow, the holding on with about 65%. But it's not that competition cannot be wished away. It will be there. It has to be there. But then there has to be ways and means of increasing the pie, size of the pie. If you have a small amount for distribution, it doesn't really help. You have to increase the thing, and the potential is there. So people have not gone to tap that potential. That has been a major thing. And as far as intermediation is concerned, the marketing channels, the traditional marketing channels are being cannibalized by some of the newer ones, which results in a whole lot of people, marketing intermediaries exiting, which is not a good sign. And then, of course, taking a cue from what Mr. Mohan Rao said about corruption, there has been a huge amount of unhealthy business practices, which is causing demise of a lot of good things which are there in place. But then these are certain negatives which are there. I'll talk about the factors which are helping the growth. Today, medical insurance has emerged as the biggest line of business for the insurance industry. What used to be till 10 years back about 10%, 12%, today constitutes 36% of the insurance industry, which is huge. And it's fueled by huge hospital costs. And of course, medical inflation being something which is inescapable, will continue to do so in future. And second is growing awareness because of, thanks to a great extent due to COVID also, there has been growing awareness. And plus, a lot of companies have been making use of this as part of the wage package. So health insurance is a growing field, and it will keep growing for some time. And then movement, nuclear families. As nuclear families are taking over, the old joint family system is breaking. More and more insurance is being considered, and the young generation is cottoning on to it. They also have a lot of disposable income, which is being directed towards it. Vehicle scrapping. Now, the government policy of scrapping vehicles will be a big boost to the insurance industry, because this is going to be filled up with new vehicles. So this is not going to, will help in pushing premiums up. And of course, though it has been D-tariff, non-life insurance, mostly it is called D-tariff, but then there has been a backdoor entry of tariff through reinsurance and other products, pressures. So that also is pushing up the premium values. The Ukraine war, COVID, inflation, all these are going to contribute and are contributing to growth in insurance premium. Now, for the next 25 years, the concentration, I'll just may list out the points because I don't want to take too much of time on it. It's said very often that 60% of the motor vehicles on the road are uninsured. If the concentration goes towards that, instead of concentrating on the easy pickings of just taking the new vehicles which are coming in or which are already insured, that will be a big way to do it. Stopping of intermediary cannibalization, seeing that more and more intermediaries are there in the field so that business can be brought in. Costs have to be reduced. And costs are not low. So premiums unnecessarily go up, it becomes unaffordable for a lot of things. So it has to be made affordable by lower costs. Technology has to obviously take into, is able to now deliver a lot of things which in earlier times we were incapable of conceiving. So whether it is getting business or settlement of claims. In both areas, technology can develop tremendously. In fact, I remember when a few years back, when we started doing crop insurance, drones we used, not for getting data, but just to let people know that we are using high technology stuff and keeping them away from committing frauds. So that helped us to a limited extent. But now the same drones have grown so much in capabilities that it's possible to perhaps make great use of it productively to ensure that optimum crop utilization, crop insurance is done. After all, drones have been a major factor for in the war between Kazakhstan and Georgia, where Kazakhstan, because of its drones, was able to overpower Georgia with a much superior, army. So now new technologies are emerging, remote sensing, and so many things are becoming more and more accurate. It's possible to do all these things. But one important area is claims settlement. And claims is the ultimate test in as far as insurance is concerned. And in claim settlement, there is a lot which doesn't come to our eye, because that is where claims, that is what will give confidence to people. Now, I was going through some statistics a couple of years back. I had written an article on that also. And I found that claims, almost out of the non-life insurers, out of 33 or so non-life insurers, a good many of them were showing claims repudiated or closed in double digits, some of them going up to almost 20%. That is something which is not acceptable. You can't have 20% of the claims being repudiated or closed. So that's something which needs to be done to give confidence to people. And things have to be simplified. As I said, policies have to be simplified and wordings have to be. There is another thing which is going to happen, that is wording de-tariff. That is, still now only the rates were de-tariff, the policy terms and conditions were same. But now that is also going to be de-tariff. And when that happens, each company will come with its own wordings and nobody will really be able to come forward. So perhaps in the next few days, the regulator should come up with some standard products, and any deviation from that product has to be highlighted and told to the customer by the insurance company. So these are certain steps which need to be taken. And finally, fraud control. It's estimated that almost internationally also, globally, about 15 to 20% of the claims are fraudulent. In India, the proportion could be higher. But it's not only frauds perpetrated by the insuring public. Insurers can also commit frauds. And I would recommend to you to read this book called Rainmaker, which is about the US, how, skimming takes place a little bit, and each claim is cut so that, nobody happens. In India also, we hear a lot of such stories. So these are certain areas which need to be taken care of. And a vision document has been prepared by the IRDA, and they have said that 2047, the basic objective is to see that every person in India is to be insured. It's a great thought. It's perhaps something which needs to be done. And there are various steps, but simple things done can go a long way rather than fancy things which after some time just disappear. So we need to concentrate on the basics, fundamentals, and see that we get things right at the inception. I think these are a few things, if done properly, we can carry on, we'll be able to achieve our goal. Thank you very much.